Well, speaking of which, Jim,
Yes.
the big match, I would say the biggest match on the show, no disrespect to Brock and Cena, but I think this is the match that the show kind of felt like it was built around. The return of AJ Lee to the ring as part of this intergender tag team feud amongst couples. Where's Chuck Woolery when you need him?
Well, what about not Chuck Woolery, but who was it? Jim Lang, the host of the dating game. Now, Seth and Becky came out. They were lowered on a platform in purple spaceman outfits. And again, remember what I said. Now that Becky is with Seth, Heyman doesn't need to go out twice in a night. Heyman can concentrate on the bronze, and Seth has somebody. In singles matches, I think it would be good if Becky goes with Seth. They can all talk together. They can be in group interviews, but this breaks it up a little bit and establishes subgroups within the whole collective. Anyway, they got him chanting CM Punk, and then suddenly, Mussolini and AJ Lee.
Oh,
See how it works there?
hey, I mean, it could have worked. I don't know what you did.
Well, Punk came out, it's clobbering time, and they faded into AJ Lee's music and got a big pop. And as much as I like Cult of Personality, I guess it does fit better for her to fucking light it up or whatever it is. Is that a real pop group or is that some Jim Johnston concoction from years ago?
I
Do
don't
we
know.
know this?
It may be the post Jim Johnston period. I don't know. It sounds AI, but it's before AI. I don't know what it is, but it was the right move. You know, also, Punk, when he came out, his jacket said AJ's husband, I think.
Yes.
So it's
Yeah,
all about
man.
her. It's a return match.
And that's the thing is that these people are smart. They're smart to the business. They know what the fuck they're doing. What did I say beforehand? I said the people ain't going to want to see AJ and Becky start hip toss, drop down, arm drag, wrestling stuff. They want to see them fight. And they also milked it from the start because the people want to see the women fight. So milk it as long as you can. Don't let them in together. The babyface girl would want the heel girl, but the heel don't want any of it. And there's cheap shots and taunting and running and tagging, and you build the anticipation. And then Seth and Punk can do the spots around it and react and have the match that leads to the brief milking of the interaction. And for a while, Punk worked on Seth and he established the axe handles off the top rope and everything. And then they cut fucking Punk off with Becky shot the knee in the back and they got some heat on Punk and they took their time because they were having a smart match that built and was laid out. Becky would get the cheap shots. Punk was milking the tag. He's got to get the. And when you think about it, he's trying to tag this 110-pound girl. But that would save him because they're telling a story. And Seth kept blocking him. And then they did a false tag. A false tag is the terminology where the baby faces actually do tag, but it's behind the referee's back and the referee doesn't see it. So he turns around and puts AJ out while the heels get their heat from behind. This is Wrestling 101. And then finally, Seth went for a dive in the corner, but he missed it. And Punk went for the tag, but Becky had pulled AJ off the apron. So they get more heat on Punk. They're really milking this thing. And finally, Seth is skipping around like AJ, trying to mocking her, and he skips right into a go to sleep, but Punk can't cover because he's had the shit kicked out of him. He goes for the tag. Becky tried to stop it, but they make the tag. And now the girls are in, and AJ hits the Thez press and the punches, and they have a fight. And she kicks the shit out of Becky Lynch. Her punches in the corner need some work. but it's been 10 years. Maybe there's a little rust there. And they have the crossbody and the 2 count, the big slap fight. And then AJ turns around and slaps Seth and DDT's Becky, and they double team Becky. And then now it's kicking up a notch. Now this is what they built for, and the people came to see this. So boom, they're giving it to them. But it's not preposterous. They're not just kicking out of goddamn sledgehammer shots to the fucking head. Punk and AJ both did the Bulldogs. And then AJ got her hold. What is the Black Widow? And Punk got his sharpshooter. And then AJ got a Black Widow on Seth and got a big pop. And then Becky suplexed AJ and the heels hit twin pedigrees. They kept this thing fucking going where it made sense. But there was a little interaction with the girls and the guys, not the distasteful kind, but it wasn't like unnatural where everybody was standing around trying to figure out what they should do because they'd backed themselves into a corner. And at one point, Punk gave the stomp to Seth. But then later on, Becky got a sharpshooter on Punk. But then Punk rolled through and started to get her. It wasn't like a domestic dispute, but you're reversing a hold on a woman. But Seth came in with a pedigree and a stomp, and AJ made a save. And again, then they got in the middle, had a 4-way hockey fight, and the baby faces cleared the announce desks off. And Punk was going for a GTS standing on the desk on Seth, but Becky threw AJ into Punk, and they took a hell of a bump on the desk with it all falling and collapsing. And finally, that left the girls to get back in the ring. Becky went for the manhandle slam, but AJ spun around her into the Black Widow thing, and Becky tapped, which is the only finish they could have done for this match. Now, I'm not saying she had a tap, but she had a beater. And the people were going crazy for this shit. It made sense. It told a story. The people involved were over. The issue was personal, and the people understood it. This is fucking wrestling. Why is it so hard to understand? I yield the floor.
It was all right. Again, I haven't been really...
It was okay, dog.
I haven't been really into this whole, thing for a variety of reasons, but I thought it was all right.
Compared to what else we're watching now.
Well, compared to now, I'm comparing it to, ever. But
you can't do that no more because ever is a very long time.
What I didn't like was just the stuff of Punk selling for Becky. I get that it equals, what, is going on there or whatever it is.
Well, but it was plausible. She wasn't picking him up and vertical suplexing him.
I don't think it's plausible that she could hold him in a sharpshooter or whatever. I personally don't think that's plausible. So that's my biggest complaint.
I gotta tell you.
You think Becky Lynch could hold him in a sharpshooter if he was trying to force his way out?
With the right technique and having got it good, I'm just wondering if not like she had it in this match, but if you got it for a shoot, got it good and leaned back on it, I'm wondering.
I don't think she could. Natty Neidhart, maybe. But I don't think Becky Lynch could. So to me, that suspended disbelief a little too much. AJ,
that's why he rolled through and reversed it.
The move AJ was doing at least works because it looks like something that, that could be a bit of a pain in the ass. And she's small enough that it's hard to reach around and do anything. Where the fuck is she? You know what I mean? Like that at least is plausible. But the Becky Lynch doing stuff.
Get this cat off my back.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
Where do you think they go from here?
I'm sorry, Mr. Brian Hart, master of the sharpshooter. See, here's the thing. If you apply a number of these holes as a shoot and in no way attempt to take care of a son of a bitch that you've got it on, There's some of these holes that once you've got them, even a stronger motherfucker can't get out of. I don't know, just because of the torque that you could legitimately power out of something like that if somebody was sitting all the way out on it or all the way back on it.
And again, we're talking about a sharpshooter.
I've never been in a shoot hula hoop. I've never been in a sharpshooter.
And we're talking a sharpshooter, not an Indian deathlock or something. We're talking a sharpshooter.
Oh no, you get the Indian deathlock, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that.
That's why they used to put that on the old folks out on a tree out in the woods to kill them.
What?
That was what Gordon Soley would say. Have you never heard that story?
I don't know that story, no.
Oh, goddamn. Folks, the Indian deathlock used to be a finish in wrestling, and there is some, again, element of shoot in it in terms of when you get this hold on, if you didn't want it to be broken, the person that let you put it on would then have a hard time kind of getting out of it, because you tie your leg up or their legs around your leg with the toe hooked and all this shit. But the story in wrestling in the 60s and 70s was that the Indians would take the older, infirm members of their tribe out in the woods and put the Indian deathlock on them, put their legs around a tree in the Indian deathlock, so they couldn't escape, and they'd stay in the forest and die, basically. Because they were trying to make these goddamn Indians out to be big heels. But that was supposedly the thing. This hold was so inescapable that you could just take and put the hold on a person around a tree trunk and they wouldn't be able to get away. So how are they going to be able to get loose when it's your leg in the middle of their legs and you won't let them escape? Are you just humoring me now?
No, I'm listening to this explanation.
Listening intently.
Yes.
I had to teach Alan Iron Eagle. Do you remember him, Joe Gomez?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I had to teach him the Indian deathlock. They brought him into WCW. It was one of Ole's hiring all the cheap guys. And he was working in Florida. I guess Joe Gomez, one would indicate he was Hispanic. But they changed his name to Alan Iron Eagle and made him an Indian. Said use the Indian deathlock as a finish. And nobody in the goddamn locker room except me knew the Indian deathlock. So I had to teach the Indian before he went out to win the match with it how to do the Indian deathlock.
I just saw his name somewhere. It may have been the Observer for some reason. And it mentioned that he was very close with Ric Flair. And I was like, oh, I never knew that.
I think he died. That's why they mentioned him.
Oh. Well, rest in peace.
So now you feel bad, don't you?
Now I feel awful. See,
I led him down I started him on the road to ruin because I hurt him with the Indian deathlock, and it contributed many years later to his death.
All right, well, I guess my point is I don't think Becky Lynch could get Alan Iron Eagle in the sharpshooter either. It's the point of it. But that was the main event of the show, and I guess that's the problem.
We still had more.
There was still more after the match that was the match for this show.